My name is Gaurav Sharma. I'll be representing you the data analytics operation with the help of IBM UE modeler on the sample data set for the CS274 class. We have been provided with the two texts with the sample data set in the form of subjective and objective files. Subjective and objective files can be viewed as a text file which is consisting of a set of movie reviews by the critics. Subjective.text, as the name implies, consisting of subjective reviews by the movie critics, which may consist their own personal opinions and experience, and they may include some biased reviews because of their subjective reviews. While the objective.text usually consists of those reviews which have um, solid argument behind them, and they are basically unbiased. So our task is to merge these two files together, create an input text file which can be fed to the IBM UE modeler, and see whether or not IBM UE modeler is able to distinguish the examples that examples from coming from individual files. So for that purpose, we merged these two files together, give it a name text.dat because it is the basic requirement of the IBM modeler for that the input file should be named as this. Then we prepared a dates.dat which consists of dates for each and every examples that we have in our text.dat file. It is a necessary condition to have a dates.dat corresponding to the every examples in the text.dat. So we have both the input files ready, so we can give the run command to the IBM UE modeler to start processing. So we will double click on the run.bat on the root directory of the UE modeler. It will take us to some initialization screen for the UE modeler value to perform some verification and validation on the text files, and then it will open up an initial window which is generally consisting of several settings in the form of option which we can provide for the IBM UE modeler before we start performing clustering. The most important option that it provides is the clustering algorithm, which can be the k-means and the keyword search. Here in this case, we will be considering keyword search algorithm, which will generally classify the entire data set based on the most frequent word. Before we give a run command to the IBM modeler to perform this clustering algorithm upon the dataset, we would like to check whether the input file is in correct form or not. So for that we can ask IBM modeler to verify and validate the input files. So for that we can click on the check file button. It will show us an information window like that no errors detected. So that means our input files, the input merge file that we prepared is indeed in the right condition to be fed into the IBM UE modeler and are ready to be processed. So we will click a run command to the IBM UE modeler, where it will perform the same algorithm, keyword search algorithm, and it will calculate the average distance to form the centroid, to form the classification, and it will take us to the basic view of the screen of IBM UE modeler with the class table view as selected, where we can see a list of all classes in the this generated by the classification of the input data set. So as we can see, our data set gives our data set once we apply the keyword search clustering algorithm, gives us a 57 number of classes with a total of 5,493 examples. We have been provided to perform data analytics operation on the subjective and objective classes, but as such we do not have any classes that are named as subjective and objective. So what we will do is we will choose some representation classes to represent objectivity and subjectivity. For this purpose, we will select a documentary class as a representative of the objectivity, because generally documentary also has a goal and has a valid logic behind them. And to represent subjectivity, we will use the drama class, as they also have emotion and they might have biased judgment. So for these two classes we will be considering in this example. So let us visualize these two classes and let us see whether the IBM modeler is able to perform valid clustering for them even though they are coming from a single file or not. So in the visualization pane has already been visualized with some initial default classes. So what we are going to do is we are going to select those classes which we want to see visualized. So we will be selecting documentary and the drama class for this purpose, and we will click OK. So here it is, the drama and documentary classes are visualized for us. We will choose some options so it will be better for us to differentiate between these two. The important point to notice here is that there is no overlapping areas between the clusters of these two classes that actually makes it very clear that the clustering has been performed quite neatly by the IBM UI modeler for these two classes. But eventually the examples, because of our searching or search algorithm is based on the keyword search, so keyword may occur in both the text files. So we cannot have restricted the keyword to occurring from one file to one, which have occurred in a file may not occur in other. We have not put such condition. So that is why it may be possible that there are some examples which can come from the subjective files, and which there are some examples which come from the objective file may present together in the one of these two classes. So this is the one thing that is notable. Here we can see an example from the documentary class, which is it is an example of the documentary class. Sorry for the interruption. So let us see where this particular example of the documentary class has came from. So here, so as you can see, this particular example has actually come from objective.txt. Come from an objective, and this documentary class examples. This particular example is actually come from the objective.txt. Similarly, we can check for the drama class whether a particular example has came from the subjective.txt or not. So what we are going to do is we are going to check this particular text on the subjective.txt. And here it is. It actually comes from the subjective.txt. So our assumption about the subjective and objectivity and taking drama and documentary classes as their representative is not perfect, but it is near perfect. If we try to find out this particular example in objective.txt, let us see what we will get. Okay, that means there is no example like the with the keyword with the same example that we have seen in the drama within the subjective.txt. So hence, as I said, that it is based on the keyword search algorithm. So it might be possible that some examples from both the classes can have intermix of examples from both the text files. So there might be cases where the overlapping, but overall it has been very neatly clusterized and visualized. Let us see the class view of these two classes. So let us first see the class view of the documentary class. We can also see the here it is in the left pane, it is all the information related to the documentary class. In the left pane, all the information related to the examples. This particular documentary class has a class size of 60. That means it has 60 examples from the text which have been provided to it. And we can see the secondary classes to this particular documentary class. Secondary classes to any particular class in subjective are those classes to which the examples will be transferred in case of deletion of the original class. So if I delete documentary class, all the examples from this particular class moves to the second closest class to the documentary, which is in this case is a miscellaneous class. As you can notice that there is no the drama is not in the list of documentary class, as we can recall from the visualization that there were no overlapping areas between the documentary and the drama. So that particular fact is actually substantiated by this particular feature that the secondary classes are also not common for drama and documentary. Let us see for the secondary classes for drama. As you can again see, if I delete the drama class or move delete an example, it will move to the miscellaneous class because it is the most which is the second closest class to the drama. Again I can see that again we can see that there is no documentary class appeared as a second closest class to drama. That means the visualization and this secondary classes both um, are mutually supports the fact that both classes are distinct. Also one thing we can do, we can save the current classification in the form of a class file, and we can give that name of as a save class, and we can save it to the our root directory. The classification which has been generated on the basis of the class keyword search clustering algorithm will be saved at the file. So whenever in the later time we want to access, we can directly see that particular classification. With the help of IBM UI modeler, we can generate two kinds of reports. These kinds of report helps us to locate the information without actually performing the same task again. So we can generate a report in the in HTML format with the generate report function of the from the file menu. We can give it as a report or test report, and the formatable files of the type we can specify it like an HTML file. The default location is already set as the root directory of the UI modeler, so we'll just save it. It is saying that I've already generated that particular file, so it is saying the replace, so you can just click yes. So once your file is, once you double click that particular file, like this, it will consisting of all the classes with their class size, and then the percentage with respect to the number of examples they have with respect to the 100% of the number of examples number. Then all of these class names are clear. If you click on the class name of the documentary class, you will find it that the actually the size of the documentary class is around 60, but you can see that 10 particular examples from each class. So it also gives some information about how the clustering algorithm would have been worked. So by looking at these examples, you can try to estimate how would have this particular clustering algorithm would have worked. So once you have done with this report, we can go to the UI modeler to generate the spreadsheet kind of report. We'll give it the name as spreadsheet 3, and we'll save it in the root directory for UI modeler. The advantage of storing the information in this comma separated value kind of report is that we will always feed these information to any other processing systems, like for a programmer in the database, so as to process these information to further. Here we have the class name and the class name of all the classes which constitute this classification, and their sizes, the respective class size is nothing but the number of examples each class contains. So it pretty much should give an overview of all entire classification that has been done performed by the IBM UI modeler on the input data set. So I think that would be all from my side. Thank you very much for listening.